Okay. Hello everyone. Let's talk about this GORN expansion. So this is the original GORN expansion. It was the Gornarus Wave 13 Original Series expansion. I would call it from Middle Era for the game, because it's not the earlier ships, but it's sort of pre-faction pack era, pre-card pack era. So, just a reminder of my rating system. We've got 0 to 7, 0 being it is detrimental to run on your ship, 1 being bad, 2 being okay, 3 being good, 4 being good and I personally would run it, 5 being great, 6 being great and I would personally run it, and 7 being amazing. But before we start grading the cards, let's talk about what you get in the box. So you get 5 of these reminder tokens, as well as 1 critical hit token. This was pretty standard for the earlier packs. We've also got your standard array, being the scan, battle stations, evade, and a auxiliary power token. So we're looking at a Fed action bar, along with 4 shields. The ship is less powerful than I thought it would be, with a 3 attack and 3 hull, but it does have 4 shields, which is more than I thought it would have. You get E2 for your target lock, in case you're collecting those and you're missing you want your second set of E's. 2 disabled tokens, as well as 3 captains, one of which is a skill 0, of course. Well, a skill 1, sorry. Cost 0. We've got a 5 and a 3. The 3... sorry. The 3 is a Enterprise era GORN, so it's the 2000 CGI. Alright, now this pack, the ship for one, I think, looks really Atomic era. I think it hits that, so it fits right in with the Romulan Bird of Prey, but this one's all shiny, whereas the Romulan Bird of Prey is sort of a matte coloring. And I think I actually prefer this shiny aesthetic for these Art Deco-ish ships. Not Art Deco, Atomic Punk, Atom Punk. However, I do also enjoy this coloring on the TOS Enterprise as well, but the TOS Enterprise can also just be matte. I enjoy matte on that. The mission you get is an interesting one. You start with a planet, you have a Federation ship and an independent ship in orbit of the planet. You have 2 crew members and a captain if you're the Federation side that are beamed down to the planet. You have to roll dice to beam your crew off. What's interesting is the GORN get to also roll dice, and it's an attack dice versus defense dice. And funnily enough, the GORN roll the attack dice, and the Federation roll the defense dice. But the sort of tricky part of the mission is that if the GORN are successful in their attack dice roll, that helps the Federation. I would have personally inverted the game design on that. I would have had the Federation roll the attack dice and the GORN roll the defense dice, just sort of because, like, we associate uncancelled hits as being a success. But in this case, uncancelled hits that the GORN roll are a loss for the GORN, because the GORN don't want the Federation to beam off the planet. The other interesting thing is there's a bit of a game design flaw here, in that it's possible for both teams to lose. So the GORN win if you destroy the Federation ship while the Federation player still has 1 or more cards in the away team, or if you exit the north edge of the board. Whereas the Federation player wins if you destroy the GORN ship after all your away team have returned to your ship. So if the Federation destroy the GORN before they've got their away team back, nobody wins. So that's a bit of a logic error, as we would say in programming. But you do get a mission, which is nice. Might be an interesting one to try. I would note that with the way the math works on how many dice the Federation and the GORN roll, it's all dependent on how many crew you have left, and it's easier, I would say, to get all your crew off in the first turn, but it will be harder to get your crew off the planet the less people you have on it. Just kind of... No. Sorry, right? No, that was that intuitive math thing. It was weird. No, actually, it gets easier, I think. Does it? Hold on. Let me check. I need to do math in my head again. Ugh. So the Gorn... Okay, let's say you have only one person on the planet. The Gorn would roll 2 dice, and the Federation player would roll 3 dice. Yeah, no, it actually gets harder to beam your people off the few people you have there, which is interesting. Is that supposed to represent, like, Kirk and the Gorn having a showdown down there? Anyway, let us get into the actual cards. So, let's start with the worst cards we got. And this one I hate. This is this is for our 1 slot. It is the Impulse Overload. Action. Discard this card to target a ship at range 1 of your ship and roll 3 attack dice. If you roll at least 1 hit or crit result, the target must discard a tech upgrade of their choice. It is a 5-point action discard tech upgrade. I'd probably be more forgiving if this was an elite talent, because there's so many 5-point action discard elite talents. But there are so many great tech upgrades that you can get. This is not one of them. Not to mention, you roll the 3 dice, you discard and everything, you might not even get a hit. And there's 5 points of your tech down the tubes, and they still get to keep all their 5 points of tech. Secondly, if you roll 3 hits, do you get to discard 3 tech upgrades? No. Do you even get to choose what the 1 upgrade is? No, they do. And even then, like, if you were to look at my previous attitude towards bad cards, I typically go like, well, all bad cards have a place. Because even bad, and I'm usually more forgiving to bad cards, because when they come, because usually they're older cards, but there is a card in this pack, which is cheaper, that does this but better. So it's like, the only use for this is if you only have this pack, and you want to steal tech, and you really want to be able to steal 2 pieces of tech from a ship. So it's like, it's just not worth the cost, people. 5 points for a discard and you don't even know if it's going to work. Like, especially, like, for 5 points of tech, you can get, like, some serious defensive upgrades. One of which is in this pack. So it's like, what are you going to be accomplishing with this card, right? So you managed to strip away their super defensive upgrade. Well, you could have done that if you bought a 5-point weapon, or a 4-point weapon, or maybe a 3-point weapon could have done that. Done the equivalent of destroying their upgrade. By just doing the extra damage. Anyway, let's talk about the ship's maneuvers. They're your average, not that creative, but fairly standard for flying in formation. Maneuver dial. So you got your 4 green moves, you've got your 3 hard turns, white hard turns, and a red come about. So this can fly in formation with your Burrells and most of your Klingon ships. That'll be fine. Mirandas, you can fly it with Mirandas, but just don't do the come abouts. Let's go on to our just okay cards. So our okay cards. The Gorn. He's just a Gorn. He's a 1-point Gorn. Do you like the Gorn? Do you like the rubber costumes? If so, hey, here's a card for you. Alright. Yeah, okay. Then we've got Slar. Actually, you know what? I think I'm gonna put it over there and put a text bubble here. There we go! Magic! Unless I didn't do it. That would be awkward. Anyway, Slar. You may feel the Salvage upgrade. So, Salvage upgrade. What tier is that? Is that an okay? Is that a great? Let me just see. There we go. Salvaged. Well, first off, talking about Slar. He's, he doesn't let you get the upgrade for free. He just lets you get it. So he's, Most of the time, he's just a 3-point captain for 2 points, which, you know what, that's alright. He's okay. But Salvaged itself is another okay card. Sorry, it's another good card. But he's a good card. This is a good card I would actually play, Salvaged. It is 4 points. Basically, if you destroy an enemy ship, you're able to steal stuff off of it. Actually, you don't even need to destroy the ship. The ship just needs to be destroyed near you, and then you get the stuff. How cool is that? It's 4 points, a little on the costlier side, but they could have made this a 5-point discard, but they didn't. And I appreciate that self-restraint. This is the card that, to me, is so much better than Impulse Overload. However, the catch is Impulse Overload can be used on ships that are still alive, whereas Salvage only works on ships that are destroyed. So Salvage is not useful if you're playing a 1v1. Most of the games I play are 3-way battles, and typically we don't end up with like one victor and both people dead. It's just by the end of the game, one person has been defeated. So Salvage wouldn't be the most useful in those games either. However, if I was playing online in like a tournament, I might use Salvage, or part of some casual games online, I might use Salvaged. So yeah, those are the okay cards. This is an okay card. I would personally... Well, actually, this guy is, I think, a good card. So he is a... Let me check my rating system. He's a 3. This, however, is a 4, because it's a good card that I would actually run. Let's get back into some other good cards. Oh, we got Target of Phaser Strike. Target of Phaser Strike. Let's take a look at it. It's a 4 attack, range 1 to 3, 4 SP. It's an older card, so it's not going to do quite as amazing as you would like, but if you disable the card, you can perform the attack. It isn't... So it's sort of like you're going to have to re-enable it and then be able to attack with it on later turns. It's going to be action economy worth. It's going to chew up some actions, but what's interesting is when you do hit an enemy ship, you get to disable their weapons, which is nice. However, not everyone runs weapons. I would say this is probably really good for shooting smaller Federation ships, because those ships are more likely to have weapons. They might have torpedoes, they might have, you know, Type 8 or Type 10s, something like that. The downside is it is +4 on any other ship that is not a GORN ship, in terms of cost. And you guys know I don't really like those, because to me, if a card is going to be designed to work on a ship, it should have synergy that makes you want to put it on the ship, not just have a, oh, the card costs more. Like, come on, people. Mind you, this is from sort of the middle era, Wave 13. I'm happy to see that newer packs aren't doing this as much, but it is still kind of a little disappointing to see it. Then we have 2 cards here that I put in the good category, because I think other players could use them very efficiently, but I personally don't think I would. We have Gornarus, which is the name ship. It's a 3-1-3-4. It's a tech weapon crew for 22 points. In my personal opinion, I think it needs more tech slots. Not more tech slots, but just more slots in general. And judging by the... I think the card pack kind of fixed this problem. This ship, when you attack someone, if you do a critical damage to the ship's hull, you can choose to search for structural damage or a weapons malfunction, which is, again, pretty nice. There appears to be some synergy in this pack, or not necessarily synergy, but a theme about disabling enemy weapons and stealing stuff from their ships. So this ship, in a sense, is a sort of a debuff ship when you think about it. Like, this whole pack is kind of around debuffs. The next guy we got here is Cecilak. He's a captain. He's 5 skill. He has an elite talent, and he costs 3 points. 3 points is pretty good for a 5 with elite. His named ability is sort of a general background quality boost. Not the quality boost I would be looking for, but I think would come in more handy than you'd think. So, if you got a blank, you can convert it into a battle station. And when you have a battle station, he can convert it into a hit. So, not the greatest. Like, I see him, it doesn't shout out super duper useful, like, you know, someone who says, like, roll an extra green die, or just convert, you know, blank to hit, or something. But, you know, I think he is better than I'm giving him credit for. I don't know if I would run him, but I would probably recommend him to other players. So now we're moving on to the good cards that I actually personally would play. We've got the GORN starship. Now, it's listed as 20 points here, and this this upgrade bar is abysmal. But apparently they've been discounted to 14 points for this. So a 3-1-3-3. So you're looking at things like going up against the Burrell. I think that's what the... Is that what the Defiant class has been discounted to? Let me check quickly. Yeah. Defiant. No, the Defiants are actually more costly. But they do get a additional evasion. So yeah, these guys are coming in a little beneath the Defiants. They've got a much worse upgrade bar than a Defiant, though. A generic Defiant, you're looking at a tech, a weapon, and a crew. This is a tech and a crew. I don't think this pack... Well, this pack comes with 1 crew. So it's... you'd think that the GORN would have weapons, lots of weapons. But then again, this is sort of an original series era pack where 3 attack dice was considered good, or is supposed to be good. So this is an okay ship, and I would run it. Sorry, it's a good ship, and I would run it. Moving on is one of my favorite cards in the pack, Jammed Communications. I want to stick this thing on a small ship that's cheap. Oh, hey! That's this! 14 points, stick this on it. You fly it straight into a middle of like a souped up 5 fire team, or I guess attack wing squad, and then you activate this and you just tank all their buffs. Because this card is a range 1 to 3, and it basically disables everyone's ability to boost their friendly ships. Essentially, ships within range 1 to 3, including your own, are unable to benefit from text that says, you know, target a friendly ship, or another friendly ship, or just all friendly ships within range. So Dinatra doesn't work. Clark Turrell doesn't work. Here we go. We've got another one. GORN Raiding Party. I love me a party card. I have a special build. I don't know if I've ever posted it into the channel. It's called the Party Bus. It's a Kazon ship, and you just load it up with all the cards in the game that have the word party. And it's just a big, huge party in space. So this is an offensive crew upgrade, which disables enemy shields. And if you manage to disable all of the shields, or there are no shields to disable, what happens? You get to discard this card, and you disable all of their upgrades. How great is that? That seems fun. And I think it works. Does it work on cloaked ships? Let me check. No, it does not work on cloaked ships. But if you are able to do this at a low captain skill, and target, let's say, a Klingon vessel, you disable their 2 shields, then they can't cloak. How great is that? Okay, and speaking of great, let's move on to the great cards. We've got a great card here. I don't know how to play it, just because I don't know if it would come up in my table battles. We've got a card here called Faked Messages. Oh no, this is a card I would play. I was looking at my system wrong. This is a great card, and I would play it. During the planning phase, after every ship's maneuver has been chosen, you may discard this card and target an enemy ship that is not within range 1 to 3 of your ship. Face that ship to change its... force that ship to change its chosen maneuver to a 1 forward. Now that isn't quite as great as I thought this card was supposed to be. I thought it was supposed to be like you get to take control of their ship and choose their maneuver. I think I was mixing it up with Lure. But forcing a ship to take a 1 forward can win you a match. It can force a ship off the board, maybe not on that turn, but it can put them in a situation where they're not able to escape the edge of the board. It can screw up a mission. You use it in a race, you just held them up. You do all sorts of crazy stuff with Faked Messages. Just think about all those times where you really needed to close the distance or you really needed an additional move. Now think of those situations, but much worse, because now you can only perform 1 forward. And the final card, the one which I think is deserving of a 7 out of 7, is Improved Deflector Screens. Essentially, it is very similar to our good old friend Shield Adaptation, which is a card so good that I don't run it half the time because it's a mean card to run. It makes your ship very hard to kill. If you're running this on a ship that has a hull of 3 or less and you still have shields, you are able to cancel 1 hit or critical. Against your ship. Once you lose your shields, though, once they are even just disabled, I think, you have to discard this card. Oh no! You only have to discard it if your shields are destroyed, which means you could run this on the Equinox and still benefit. Huh. But I'm not sure if it would actually be useful on the Equinox. No, it would. It would. It could still be of use on the Equinox. But yeah, so those are all the cards in the pack. I would say it's nice to see that this is a debuff ship. I did not expect this to be a debuff ship. Because when I see Gorn, I'm always seeing things like, the improved deflector screens and their nasty disruptor bombardments. I never really see players play them as I'm here to screw up your build. I always see them being played as, I'm here to destroy your ship. I'd like to see someone run this as using more or less just cards from this pack or similar cards. See someone really fly this in to disrupt the enemy players. So, do you need this ship? Well, if you want to run Gorn, you're going to want the ship, namely because this is the only way you can get a Gorn model. Do you need any of the cards from this if you're not playing Gorn? If you're playing small ships, you might want improved deflector screens. As the similar cards to this have been invaluable. So I think even just for this one thing, or just to have, honestly, this is a really nice model, and having it on your shelf, you might just like it. So yeah, if you're sort of the type of person who plays a monk or a bard in D&D and you want to sort of do that in Star Trek Attack Wing, go ahead. Pick this one up. Is it required? Nah. Have a good day.